Welcome to episode 6 of the Tailgate Sports Podcast. Today we're going to be giving our Week 3 takeaways and recap and our NFL Week 4 picks, and I got a little game for us. Starting off with the takeaways, I think we got to start with the Jets-Patriots game. Aaron Rodgers looked phenomenal, throwing for 280 yards, having a 77 completion percentage. He was looking like kind of his old self a little bit there, and I think this is something you want to see as a Jets fan. It was against the Patriots, but the Patriots actually have a good defense. But it's definitely something you're excited to see if you're a Jets fan.
Yeah, I think that their offense did look a little bit better than it has the first couple weeks. I think that Christian Gonzalez is really one of they do have a decent defense, but Christian Gonzalez is really one of the only good secondary pieces that they have on it. So I think it was a good start nonetheless to get things kicking off a little bit. You could see him scrambling a lot more. He was pushing off of that right foot. He was doing a lot of stuff that didn't really look like he was doing in the first few weeks. So there's good signs coming at least. It's not all bad coming from the Jets camp.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I need to see, them keep going, but it's definitely a little glimpse of something that you were waiting to see last year. The Vikings continue looking legit. This team is phenomenal. Sam Darnold leading the league in touchdowns right now. This team looks great. The defense is elite. I'm ready to see this team push in and see what happens later in the season.
Yeah, he does not lead the league in touchdowns anymore after Josh Allen, but
Josh Allen
I
has
do,
8. He has or not. He has 9. Josh Allen has 8, I believe.
I think they both have 8.
Or yeah. He's tied for number
Yeah,
1.
then Josh has more rushing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
passing
so
touchdowns.
I think the Vikings are fake. I think it's way too early to be saying any of this stuff about how they're legit. I think they beat a CMC-less 49ers team that they did have Debo. They did have a decent game that game, but I think that that's just a broken team on defense also at the moment. So I think that 49ers win is a little bit overrated. They also just lost to the Rams. So they did beat the Texans also, which I think that C.J. Stroud is going to take a little bit of a step back this year either way. So they still got a little bit more proving to me to do. They beat a couple teams that everybody's probably a little bit higher on than they should be right now. So if they beat a couple actually legitimately good teams this year, maybe I'll look at them a little bit more. But it's with Sam Darnold behind center, it's hard for me to jump on board.
So Sam Darnold does lead the league in passing touchdowns. Josh Allen has 7. Sam Darnold has 8. But
I said on First Things First this morning that Josh Allen had 8. It's weird.
um,
Or yesterday they said it.
Sam Darnold, I think he has proved himself. He went up against an elite defense. I know they have been struggling, but they have the pieces. He tears them up, absolutely dominates the 49ers. Then he goes up against the Houston Texans, who also have a great defense, tears them up, makes the Texans look silly.
Who did you say had a great defense? 49ers?
The 49ers and
49ers do not
Houston.
have a great defense right now.
Their defense is struggling and they have their woes, but
So how
they
is that
have the
great
personnel.
defense?
They have the personnel, and last year they were the best defense in the NFL.
Last year.
Yeah, but I mean,
They just got cooked up by the Rams. So
they did just get cooked up by the Rams, but that's a division matchup. That's a division matchup.
Okay.
They have Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Chardavius Ward.
Is he even back yet, or is he still hurt?
He played the game. He did play the game.
Played the game. All right. Well, even if he did play the game, I'm sure he's still pretty hindered. I doubt that they had all their pieces at full tilt with how they got cooked up by the Vikings. They probably also were looking a little bit past them. Like I said, I've looked at all the stats. I've looked at everything that you can look at for the games. There's nothing that you're going to say that's going to convince me that the Vikings are real right now. I need to see it against.
You're just a Sam Darnold hater. So I'm not going to try to convince you.
Rightfully so. And the Viking, like everybody's acting like the Vikings are going to go crazy and Sam Darnold's going to have this revitalization on the Vikings when Kirk Cousins just had a great year there last year, and all he did was go somewhere else and get a new contract.
Yeah, but Sam Darnold is
The Vikings
literally
are not
the
abysmal.
number 2 quarterback in the NFL right now. Statistically, he is dominating everywhere. He's winning, and I think that says something.
He's coming from a system that he already knows into a system that he already knows. Well, coming from a system that he knows into a new system that's basically the same. And I think he's set up to win in a lot of these situations, and a lot of these teams are looking past them because they're like, oh, it's the Vikings. They don't even have a quarterback, so they're probably getting lit up a little bit more than they think. And then
If you're a
I think
defensive
I
player and
think
you're
it's gonna
thinking you
return
don't have a
to
quarterback,
the
you're just
mean
dumb.
also. What?
I said if you're a defensive player and you're looking at a team saying, "Oh, they don't have a quarterback," when he's leading stats, he's the number
Okay,
2
but this is the first
quarterback
time
right
he's
now.
ever
You're
done that.
you're just
This is the first time he's ever
he's
done
the
that.
this is one of his only really shots. He went to the Jets, had terrible year
He
at the
had 3 shots.
Jets,
He had 3 shots.
and then he went to the Panthers, had a good beginning half the Panthers. It was the Panthers. Then he went to the
And this is the Vikings.
and he's tearing up with the Vikings.
Andy Dalton, the old ass man, just had an amazing game on the Panthers. Like, what are we talking about?
If you're gonna sit here and tell me that he had a fair shake on the Jets and the Panthers compared to the Vikings, that is just the craziest thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life.
He's set up better on the Vikings, but just like we've said about literally every other quarterback that we've ever seen, he didn't show anything good on those first 2 teams. It was all bad all the time.
And they were terrible organizations. He had absolutely no one on the team. He was set up for failure. And then he went with Kyle Shanahan, one of the greatest offensive minds, developed, came to a great system.
He learned a system.
And that's one of the biggest things in the NFL. You have to have a system. If you're going to be a quarterback and not have a system, you're going to fucking suck. You have to.
But if you're also going to get figured out a lot easier, and then once a team makes a game plan for you, you're not going to be able
Brock
to go
Purdy
off
hasn't been
schedule
figured out, and people say he's in a system.
What?
I said Brock Purdy, he's in a system. No one's figured him out.
And he can go off schedule, scramble, and make his own plays. We've never seen Sam Darnold do that.
Sam Darnold has done that with the Vikings so far.
For 3 games.
3 games. You're right. But for these 3 games, he is.
You want to know another time he did this? On the Jets. Had a great 4 games.
And had not even close to the personnel as the Vikings. The Vikings have a great defense. The Vikings have good pieces for him.
Okay.
He is looking great on the Vikings. Yes, he has to keep that up for the rest of the year. But I think it's safe to say
3 more years to ditch the.
That doesn't even make sense because you can't look in the future. When you're a quarterback, you're not like, oh, I got to do good for the next 3 years. You're like, no, I have to tear it up this year. I have to push into the playoffs.
And if you push into the playoffs this year with that team, nobody's going to sit here saying Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback now.
That's just a lie because you go on to any of these analysts and people are already calling for, should we be talking about Sam Darnold for MVP?
That's different.
Like, Sam Darnold is having a great year, and if he continues...
That's clickbait media, first of all. People want
if he continues this...
Sam Darnold's MVP through week 3. Okay, so is Josh Allen's actually MVP through week 3.
Josh Allen's MVP. But Sam Darnold is the quarterback too.
Because a player that is historically terrible is having a decent
terrible on terrible teams.
They know that people are gonna bite on it and be like, oh, they're good now. When it's the same thing we've seen in years past.
They've never had a fair shake though.
History whatsoever, you'd know that Sam Darnold has done this multiple times on multiple teams, and then went back as soon as they figure out his scheme because he cannot make up things on the fly. He's not good at adjusting on the line. He's not good at doing quite literally anything that a good quarterback is good at doing, but he can throw the ball a little bit in a decent system. So he's going to win a couple games when teams are still trying to figure him out. And then he's going to go back to where he was. I'm just calling the shot right now. You can disagree all you want, but I'm calling the shot. That's exactly what's going to happen.
You know, we're not sure what the future looks like. I think he's going to continue doing good. You don't, but we'll see. I think so far he has looked great. Justin Fields brings the Steelers to 3-0. I mean, he hasn't looked phenomenal, but he also hasn't looked bad. What happens if Russell Wilson is all healed up? Do they move back to Russell Wilson, or do they keep going with Justin Fields? Justin Fields, he only has, I think, 2 touchdowns for the season so far. a couple turnovers, nothing crazy. He's not playing terrible, but he's not playing great. What would you see happening when Russell Wilson is all healed up?
Yeah, I personally have been of the belief that the Russell Wilson injury isn't quite as serious as it's been led on to be this whole time anyways. I think they're going to stick with Justin Fields no matter what. I don't really see any benefit in going to a quarterback that's a decade older, not going to be on your team for very long and might put up mid stats for you at best. I don't see the point in that. I think you should, if I'm not really sure what the contract situation is, if they could get any pieces for him this year or not, but I would do that if I was them because I don't see any benefit in going to Russell Wilson from Justin Fields right now. With the style of play that they have, putting this little guy that's just going to try and throw it far into your offense is just not going to do anything good.
Justin Fields, he has promise, and I think that's what they're going to hold on to, but his passing game is mediocre at best. He's good at keeping the ball and managing the game for Mike Tomlin, but
that's all Mike Tomlin really wants. Though, like they don't want like some quarterback that's going to go out there like a Jameis Winston. Like they don't want some guy like that that's going to go out there throwing the ball 30 for 30, going turning the ball over all the time. They want a game manager that's going to do what Tomlin asks him to do.
Russell Wilson, I think, last year before they took him out of the building, he was a great quarterback. Yeah, I mean, people, hate him because he's cringe and they want to hate on him.
He was all right. I don't think he was great,
but I think statistically he was like top 10 before he got taken out of the building. He was for what he had on that team, especially, he was playing great. I think if he came in, I think your passing game would definitely be better, but I think you have Justin Fields. He's on his last year of his contract. He's the younger guy. I think you do have to kind of let him ball out, see what he could do, see if he deserves a contract next year or if you're going to move on and figure out a new quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Russell Wilson come off of a break when he went to Denver. And we saw him work off all that rust at first. I don't think that him coming back right now is going to look any better. They might have a more voluminous passing game. They might be doing it a lot more, but I don't think that it would necessarily translate into a better passing game.
Caleb Williams, the Bears. Caleb Williams actually had a decent game. The first half was tough, but the second half, he was kind of cooking. And I think this shows if there was an offensive line, I think this team would look significantly different. If they had a new OC even, I think the team would look significantly different. Caleb Williams had 360 passing yards, showing he could pass the ball, but he doesn't have a line to hold up for him. The play calls are absolutely terrible. It gives you hope, and I think he could develop. I think this year might be a wash if they don't get him a piece on the offensive line, if they don't move on from offensive coordinator. I think the season is a wash, but it shows promise. He can sling it, and I think he will end up being fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell right now because, like you said, he did put up like 360 yards the other day, but it was also on like 52 or 53 pass attempts. Like he was throwing the ball a lot. So it's when you're throwing the ball that much, you're going to end up getting a lot of yards. He also had
63 passing completion percentage.
63. That's not bad, I guess. But what's it called? What was I saying? Oh yeah, no, he had 2 interceptions, and that kind of just washes a lot of it out when you're turning the ball over. And I think he had a fumble. Did he have a fumble that game too? I'm not sure, but
when you are getting pressured at the rate he is, you don't have a lot of time to really read, and you kind of just have to. You see a guy, you have to throw it. That's going to cause more interceptions. When you are pressured like that, you have absolutely zero chance. Shane Waldron is horrible as well. He is not setting him up for success. They need to move on from their offensive coordinator. This team, they were saying going into the year, this is the best situation for a rookie quarterback to go in. It is not. They have no offensive line. The offensive coordinator is terrible. They are setting him up for failure right now. Yeah, they have some weapons, but they are not even setting him up for them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on this train since week one. Their offensive line is the worst in the league. It's not even serviceable, and I don't know if that's only on the offensive coordinator or only on their line coach, or if they just need new personnel in general. But something's got to change with that because they can't even get a run game going. They had like 60 rush yards total last week. I think between like three running backs, which is awful. Like it really doesn't get much worse than that. So if you have no running game, like I think I said it last week, you are and a young quarterback especially, he's not going to be able to do anything. If the defense can just sit back and wait for his every move, every single play, you're throwing it 53 times a game. They know you're going to throw the ball every play, and you're obviously not being very creative with how you're throwing the ball. It's not going to go well.
Curtis had to step out for a minute. He'll be back for the picks. The 49ers lose to the Rams. Division matchup. Hard-fought game. The Rams, congratulations for the comeback win. I'm not worried as a 49ers fan for this defense. I know they've had a rough showing the last couple games. Last year, they did the same thing, lost a couple games, and then the defense got it together and ended up being one of the top defenses in the league. They have the personnel. They just need to find themselves again. Hufanga, when he comes back, that's going to elevate this defense significantly. He's a top safety in the league, and that is going to help them tremendously. I'm not worried as a 49ers fan. The offense is still performing at an elite level. The defense, we've seen them perform at an elite level, and I know that they will get it together. The Rams, if you're a Rams fan, this is exciting to see. With your two wide receivers out, you guys still perform and beat the 49ers. Matthew Stafford showing why he is a top 10 quarterback, taking nothing and making it something. Congratulations to the Rams for the win. The Ravens performed really well against the Cowboys in the first half, and then the second half they kind of fell off a little bit, and the Cowboys almost had an awesome comeback. I think it shows that the Cowboys have a coaching issue. They have the personnel. This team performs well, but they should have been aggressive if they were in the second half as they were in the first half when they were coming back. If they just started kicking it into high gear earlier, they could have had a chance to win this. I think, they let them go out there and just play some football. I think that shows that the coaching needs some help. The Ravens, yes, they looked great in the first half, but letting the Cowboys almost come back in that fashion, that is something I am still a little scared to see. The passing game for the Ravens was mediocre at best. We're going to need to see the Ravens have another great showing for me to officially say that, okay, this team is back and they're going to be a deep playoff run. The Buffalo Bills just absolutely dominated the Jaguars. They look like the best team in the NFL right now. Josh Allen putting together a MVP case. This team, people were skeptical about the offense, and they have shown through these 3 games they have no problem walking right up the field, scoring, finishing drives. I know that was an issue last year. Now they are finishing drives at an efficient level. This looks like the most efficient offense. The defense, I know they really haven't had a true test, even though the Miami Dolphins, they shut them down even with Tua, but the defense has looked phenomenal. Even having a bunch of guys out, they have 3 big injuries and they still look elite. This shows that the Buffalo Bills, the way they develop players, their player development system, they have these guys on the practice squad. They really work them into the system, and look how Balin Spector and Cam Lewis, all these guys come in and start playing at a high level. They know the system. This shows the Bills' development system is great. The defense, this whole team is probably the most well-rounded team in the NFL right now. The Bengals starting out 0-3. Only 2 teams since 2000 have started off 0-3 and went to the playoffs. The Bengals have a big issue on the defensive side of the ball. The offense looked great, but that defense can't even stop poverty offenses. If you even want to think about going to the playoffs and coming back from this 0-3, you have to go out, make a trade, get a defensive guy, go out, sign some. You have to change something. This defense is absolutely horrible. You're letting terrible teams outscore you. Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to take anything away from him. He had a phenomenal game. I don't think there was a single punt in this game. This is something you are excited to see if you are a Washington fan. You have your guy. He really has showed promise. He could run. He could sling it. Terry McLaurin had a big breakout game for this season. This is definitely something you want to see as a Commanders fan, but as a Bengals fan, this is still someone who you should be beating. The offense, like I said, they performed, but this defense, you need to be able to get stops for your offense. I think if they make some changes, maybe they have a chance. I don't think it's going to happen, and I do see the Bengals not going to the playoffs. Chris is back. We're going to do our NFL Week 4 picks. Starting off Thursday night, Cowboys and Giants.
I got Dallas taking this one.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys too. I don't think they'll lose again. Bengals and Panthers.
Part of me wants to take the Panthers here. I'm going to take the Bengals, though.
I feel that one. I think Panthers are sneaky, but I'll take the Bengals. Saints and Falcons.
I'm going to go with Atlanta.
I'm going to go with the Saints here. Jaguars and Texans.
I'm going to go with Houston.
I'm going to go with Houston as well. Broncos and Jets.
I'm taking the Jets.
This is hard for me, but I'll take the Jets. Vikings and Packers.
Give me the Vikings in this one, as long as Jordan Love is still out.
I'm going to take the Vikings as well. Steelers and Colts.
Steelers, Colts, give me Indiana.
I'm going to go with the Steelers here. Rams and Bears.
I'm going to take the Rams.
I'm going to take the Rams as well. Eagles and Buccaneers.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this one.
It's a revenge game for the Eagles, but I'll go with the Buccaneers. Patriots and 49ers.
49ers have been choking some games. I think they'll pull this one out, though. Give me the 49ers.
I'm going to go with the 49ers here. Commanders and Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
I'm going with the Cardinals. Chiefs and Chargers.
This one's going to be close. Chargers always play the Chiefs well, but give me the Chiefs.
I don't know if Justin Herbert's playing, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Browns and Raiders.
Give me the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm going to go with the Browns here. Bills and Ravens.
I got Buffalo.
I'm going with Buffalo as well. Titans and Dolphins.
I'm going to take Miami. Hopefully they do something about their quarterback situation this week, but Tennessee's just about in the same boat. So,
Battle of the poverty quarterbacks. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. Seahawks and Lions.
I got Detroit winning that one all day.
I think it's actually going to be close, but I'm going to go with the Lions here. To finish off the show, I have a little game. Let me just find it. I have the top 5 targeted wide receivers going into week 4. Can you tell me who they are?
Top only wide receivers.
Only wide receivers, top 5.
Tight ends are not included.
Tight ends not included. I think it'd be a little too hard.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna say Rashee Rice is probably number 1 on Kansas City.
Rashee Rice is number 4.
Oh.
Tied for 3.
All right. Well, don't tell me until I'm done, because now I know what number 4 is.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do it like we just eliminate them. Like you could go over each one.
Oh, so you want me to keep guessing? So well.
Yeah. So like you could guess one. I'll say, yep, it's on there, and then I'll tell you which number is. Then you're looking for like, who would be the most targeted.
I got number 4.
All right. So number 4 is Rashee Rice.
Okay. Give me Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams just misses it. He's number 8.
All right. Give me Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is number 2 with 32 targets.
All right. Give me who's throwing the ball a lot? Give me Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith is number 6 with 28. He's tied with 3 other guys.
Okay. What about Malik Neighbors? How's he doing?
Malik Neighbors is number 1 with 37 targets.
Okay. Dang, it's a little hard. But what about
I think you're doing better than I thought.
Amari Cooper?
Amari Cooper is number 3 with 29 targets.
3?
Tied with Rashee Rice for number 3. They have 29 targets.
Damn.
So you're missing, technically, you're just missing 1, but so 5, 6, and 7 are all tied with 28 targets. You got Devonta Smith.
What number am I missing though? Like what numbers do I have?
Well, you have
1, 3.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have one of the 3 that are tied for 5.
Okay, so I kind of win.
Kind of, yeah. But I want to see if you can guess these other 2.
Shit, who would I say?
I'll give you a hint. Both are in a packed wide receiver room.
Packed wide receiver. Tyreek? Is Tyreek on there?
No, Tyreek is not on there. He's got a bum throwing him the ball now.
Yeah, but I figured maybe his targets would still be up.
That's true.
Shoot, I can't even think right now. It's not. I feel like Garrett wouldn't be on there.
Garrett Wilson is not on there.
Yeah, no.
Packed wide receiver room. One is in the AFC and one is in the NFC.
Is JJ on there?
JJ is not on here.
That's weird.
I know, right? JJ is number 22.
I gotta look at these teams. Or maybe if I put teams to.
I'll give you another little hint. One has a rookie quarterback and one has a second-year quarterback.
Nico Collins? Is he one of them?
Nico Collins is tied for number 5. He has 28 targets.
Okay. So he's going with the second year, so I'm looking for somebody with a rookie quarterback, huh?
Rookie quarterback.
In the NFC.
I feel like it's pretty obvious.
I know, but I'm like, for some reason, blanket on it right now.
You see these at a party.
What?
You see these at a party.
Right, who is it?
DJ Moore with 28 targets, tied for 5. So to recap,
I forget he's even in the league.
So at 1 we have Malik Neighbors with 37. At 2 we have Amon-Ra St. Brown with 32. At 3 we have Rashee Rice with 29. Wait, let me recap that again. Sorry, I messed that up. At 1 we have Malik Neighbors with 37. At 2 we have Amon-Ra St. Brown with 32. At 3 we have Amari Cooper with 29. Rashee Rice is number 4 with also 29. Number 5 is DJ Moore. He's tied with Devontae Smith and Nico Collins, all for 28. I think it is a little surprising with Malik Neighbors being up there and even Amari Cooper. But, I mean, I guess who else are these guys throwing the ball?
Those are the teams that don't really have solid run games at the moment. So they're
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
They're kind of just pumping it out to their wide receivers all game. So I should have known Chicago.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised that you want to know what is surprising on this list? In the top 10, tied for 7, whatever, like right after Nico Collins. He has 27 targets and he's only played 2 games. Cooper Kupp. He was getting lit up before he got injured.
Yeah, that one game was crazy. I
He
think
had
he
like
had like
20
yeah,
targets.
it was like 18 to 20 targets.
Yeah, I think that's surprising. But that's going to wrap up our show. A little bit of a long one today. Tune in next week for episode 7.